Welcome back to the table. Today, Ryan and I are going to be playing through the first round, maybe the first two rounds, probably the first third of Storm Raiders. This is from Arcus and Shem Phillips, the designer. It is a pick up and deliver set in, I'm assuming, post-apocalyptic world. It feels that way anyway. We're out in the desert here collecting things, picking that up, delivering, but also maintaining, because we have all these vehicles that are going to go into disrepair quite a bit.
Yeah, there's a lot going on as far as the game operating, but the core premise, like David said, is moving around this rift storm, which is what this big area is called. And you'll see the storm itself starts off in the corner, but it's going to be moving around. Our team of Storm Raiders, if you want to call it that.
We're not working together.
Well, we each have our own individual teams represented by our miniature, or little acrylic standee here. And this represents quite a bit of things because at our disposal, we each have 3 vehicles. And these vehicles were dealt out randomly and slotted into our player board. Each of these vehicles is going to give us some kind of special power, has some different rules as to how it moves around the board, and even has some different rules as how it can pick up stuff. In addition, we're going to have a number of cards that make up our crew. So all of this together kind of is your assets that you have available to you. It's kind of abstracted in that as you're moving from one place to another, you always have your trike, or you always have your plane, or you always have access to your sub. But like I said, some of these vehicles allow you to move in different ways, and that's kind of based on the lanes you're following on the board.
The last thing I wanted to talk about is our leader. Our leader is going to give us an ability that we can use while we rest, but also it gives us some starting statistics across the top of the player board. There are 3 statistics that you're going to be getting for the mods that you have on your board, the medals that you've collected, as well as the crew that you've collected. These are going to effectively be the values of those at the end of the game. So if I get my crew value way up and then collect a bunch of crew, there's going to be a multiplier there for points. But we each started with 1. I started with 2 on the metal track, which gets me up to a value of 1. I just need to move it 1 more to get 2. And then 1 on the mods track, which again gives me a value of 1 on those at the end.
And my guy's named Thorn, and he gives me 3 on the metals track. So it's very obvious that I'm going for metals. And this is an interesting way that this works because you're balancing these. As you move around the board and pick up resources, you get to interact with these storm sites, and each storm site is going to increase one of those. They almost look like gauges, like gas gauges. You're going to increase one, and that's going to increase the multiplier for that linked thing. So getting my medals all the way up to 4 doesn't matter unless I collect medals. And the main way to collect those items is to come and complete some of these contracts by returning goods to these different areas on the board and taking rewards. So you're getting mods to modify your vehicles, you're getting medals to score points, and you're collecting crew, which also have the utility of having powers. So we started out already by giving out all of our vehicles, by placing our characters on the board. We got to kind of choose where we started as long as we started in one of these holds. And then we're going to start the game by rolling some dice. So we're going to draw 3 black dice and 2 gray dice, and we're going to roll these. Now the color of these dice matters because there are some abilities on some of these vehicles that reference specifically if you take a gray or black die. Also, the die that's left at the end of the round is going to determine which direction the storm moves. Now, the goal is to stay out of the path of the storm while kind of forcing it to go in a direction that might run over your opponent.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. You're trying to avoid the storm while also trying to do all the things you want to do on the board. So there is quite a bit to think about.
Roll them up.
I won the first player in the coin flip, so let's roll those off. Ooh, so we've got 2 6s, 2 2s, and a 4.
Okay.
Now, there's one thing that you have to keep in mind when drafting these dice. First of all, you're assigning them to a specific vehicle. But secondly, each vehicle can only take progressively higher dice. So if you start off with a 6 on one of your vehicles, you're not using that vehicle again until you rest and find some way to get rid of it. So I might want to take a 2. And again, I'm looking at these paths. I have a lot of
You have a 1 and 2 2s as options.
Yeah, but what I want to get, I'd like to come back here and get these medals. So I need to collect 2 of those brown and 1 of the greens. So that might be a little bit harder for me. However, I could go multiple paths if my dice add up. So if I wanted to come all the way down here, I could go 2 and 3. And I think I will do that. I think I'm going to come, I'll take the 4. Actually, my vehicle should read my ability. If I use a 2, it counts as, no, if I have to take a 3, 4, 5, a 4 counts as a 5.
Yeah, all the vehicles have some really interesting abilities. Ryan's is he needs to use the 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
And
I see.
what's your ability if you use those?
I get to 1 extra. So
Yeah.
I see what I can do. I can actually, there is a spot on the board that has 2 browns. That's great. And this also increases my metal, so that actually works really well. So if I want to get up here, I have to make sure that I can reach it with my trike. So I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know what? I'm going to take this gray 4, and I'm going to use my crew. So these crew can be used anytime. You just kind of flip them over. You can't use them again until you rest or find another way to flip them. But this says increase or decrease a drafted die by up to 2. So I'm going to actually turn this 4 into a 6.
Okay.
And there's a reason I'm doing that. That'll become apparent in a second. But that's going to give me a total move value of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you notice, all of these paths are meant for your trike. Otherwise, they'd have a plane. And then once you arrive there, you can take 2 goods. I'm going to take these 2. Now, a few things are going to happen here because I was a little reckless. First of all, you have to look at the ways that your vehicle takes damage. And this vehicle, the trike, takes damage if you use a 5 or a 6. So I have to take a damage die and add it to my trike. That's not so bad right now, but it does limit my spots to actually take action.
I mean, you have a 6 there anyway, so it doesn't. You're not going to be putting too many dice there soon.
I'm not, but I picked up my 2. I picked up 2 browns, and then I get to interact with the spot, which is going to be able to increase my dial. So I'm still scoring 2
Man,
points,
that is
but
huge.
I'm getting close.
You're very close to the 3 there.
I got to get some medals before I can do anything else.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, we didn't mention this, when you pick up bullets, that almost always will cause damage on the vehicle that you pick them up on.
I thought about picking up the bullet, but I didn't want to take 2 damage onto my trike. So that was my first die draft. That's the end of my turn.
All right. So to move from here to here, you would total the values next to the sub. I need a 5 on my sub.
Which
to
again,
move
that's
over there,
one of those special, each vehicle moves in a special way. So that
which
is the sub way.
for my sub, it could be a 3. Sadly, there's only 2s or the 6s.
What about your crew?
Increase or decrease the drafted die by up to 2.
Yeah, because our starting crew, I think, is the same. So
I think I'll do that.
I did it too.
I don't like using my crew that early, but I am.
I did it.
I'm going to use that, and I'm going to take this gray die, if for no other reason than to keep it from you, and increase it to a 3.
Yep.
Placing it there. And then I can use that to travel this 5 because my power is movement requires 2 fewer hours, or pips rather. So I'm going to move over here, and I'm going to interact with this space. I am going to pick up 2 goods. Unfortunately, when you pick up 2 goods with either your sub or your plane, you do take a damage. So can I have a damage?
Putting a little stress on your airplane right there. Or
Well,
your
on my
submarine, I
sub,
guess.
quite a bit of stress actually.
Yeah.
Because if you can't put damage in there, you have to take damage on this damage tracker. That's not good. That's also a multiplayer for
A negative multiplier.
negative multiplier for
You don't
points at
wanna
the
do
end
that.
of the game. So I took those 2 resources, then I interact with that one as well. So
going
I'm
for
going to go
medals too?
up on the metal. I mean, I just wanted those
It's going to be a
resources,
fight.
quite frankly.
It's going to be a medals fight. All right. Well, I am going to take the 6. And so this is why I kind of planned all this out this way, because when I take a black die and place it on my plane, I get to remove gray dice from my trike. So I'm going to remove this one so my trike is available again. Now my plane is not.
Yes.
Because I just took a 6. And I want to move, so I'm going to go, a plane can travel anywhere that a trike can travel, or where a plane can travel. So I'm going to add these together. This is a 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to stop there. And I know I want to come here next turn. So I'm going to take this green.
Are you just taking that?
No, if I take, I'm going to, well, so I'm taking a damage already because I used a 6 on my airplane.
Oh, that's right.
And if I take a second,
You take another damage.
I'll take another damage. I might be resting early next
Yeah,
round.
I can tell you, we've played this game before, and the rests feel like they're going to be coming sooner rather than later.
I think I have a plan here. So I will take a second, and I will take another damage. So my plane is looking, but I have a plan.
Good thing you didn't take the bullets as your second. I don't think you could have. Well, you
I
could have.
I would have just taken permanent damage. And at the end of the game, you're going to look at all these damage dice. Right now, each one of these is worth -1, so that's pretty bad. But this could get up to -5.
Yeah.
In which case, that would be a catastrophic
it
situation.
would be catastrophic.
So I'm going to take this other resource, and this is a crew resource. These will never go onto your player board. They simply go to the discard pile, but they let you draw a crew card. And anytime you would gain crew, you get to look at 2 cards and choose 1. So I might be, maybe I'll get lucky here. I did. I got a little lucky. I'm going to take this crew. That's remove 1 damage from your plane. So
Oh,
thank
wow.
you. Yeah, I'm going to immediately use them actually and take one of these dice off my plane. And then I interact with the crew. My crew become worth 1 extra point.
Not bad. I'm going to use this 6 because I have to.
I'm glad.
And that 6 is going to, oh yeah, because it would have gone through
Otherwise,
you.
that storm would have
Oh,
moved 6 spaces.
maybe I should consider that. You know what? I changed my
Oh,
mind.
now
Ryan.
that I've said it, I should have waited
changed
to
my
say
mind.
something.
I'm gonna use it. Well, I didn't realize what I need is also here. So I'm gonna use this on my. Oh, you know what? I'll just use it on my trike. On my trike to move here. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's gonna hit me too.
Now you're gonna be in a storm too.
It's gonna hit me too, isn't it?
No, it won't hit you.
It might.
You'll be 1 space safe.
We'll see.
So you're lucky.
We'll
you lucked out.
So I'm gonna pick up this 1 resource, and then I interact with this. This increases my mods.
Nice.
I'm increasing a little bit of everything. The 2 doesn't do anything on my trike, and that is my turn.
Yeah, that's the end. So we're going to look at the remaining die, which is a 6, and we're going to move the storm 6 spaces in that direction, which is unfortunately
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Again, following all the paths. So a few things are going to happen. First of all, it did hit me. So every vehicle that I have is going to take 1 damage.
Holy moly.
Which is okay. I'm actually fine with that.
We were actually wondering whether either of us was going to have to rest during this playthrough, but
Well,
we might.
I'm going to rest anyway because my power activates when I rest. So I like my guy's power to rest. So that's that. And then we're going to place resources on every space it moved through, including the space it landed on.
According to this chart here,
Yeah,
so if it moves 6, it's going to be here, so it's going to drop 1 resource on all of those.
1 resource.
One
Well,
there.
it's going to start here, technically.
Oh, yes, it goes backwards.
It goes backwards.
1,
It only really matters for, it's still random,
2,
either way you're looking at it.
3,
1 here, 4,
4,
5. And the space it started on will
Doesn't
never
get
get
it.
an extra 1. So that's exactly right. So that was the end of a round. We move on to the next round. A few things happen in between rounds. Well, of course, one thing is we pass the first player marker.
Thank you very much.
Now, we don't get anything back in between rounds. There's no refresh.
No, you have to rest during your turn.
You're going to have to take that action. But these strongholds, or stormholds, will get a little bit juicier when they flip over.
Only mildly.
Mildly
Really,
juicier.
more than anything, it just is.
Actually, that one became worse for me because I wanted 2 medals, not a medal and a mod. But it is what it is.
And then we roll the dice up.
I'm going to roll the dice, so I'm going to give them to you. Now,
3
there is
black, 2
one
gray.
special caveat. If you're following along up here, you're going to see that these are our rounds. We're in round 2 right now. In a 1 or more player game, the highest value die is going to get a medal attached to it. So if you take the higher die, you also get a medal.
Ooh, I'm going to have to take that.
Maybe. I mean,
I don't want to
see
give
what
you a
you roll.
medal.
the highest die is the 5, so the 5 gets a medal attached to
The
it.
5 gets a medal.
There's
so
going to
we'll
be there's going to be more opportunities to get medals from these dice later
set
on.
that right there.
Yeah.
Do I want to take the 5? It would be a little crazy.
I don't know what you're
I'm gonna
thinking
take
right
the
now.
5.
So you are going to take the 5 and get the medal.
I'm going to take the 5 and take the medal. And I'm going to place the 5 here on my plane. It says spend 1 less hour if bypassing a site.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
So as long as I go past a site to get where I'm going, I spend 1 less. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but 5 for me.
Yep.
So I'm going to move all the way to here.
Nice.
And I'm going to complete that contract by putting these resources here.
2 orange and a brown. So that one's done.
Orange and a brown. That one is done.
So you'll get 5 points at the end of the game.
5 points at the end of the game. Also, get a mod, which is the first mod we've gotten. You get these mods. They're going to not they are.
They're gonna take away the
improving.
bad
They're
things.
taking away the bad things. So some of those penalties we get on some of our vehicles, I can cover one of those up right now. I think I'm actually going to cover up the 6th spot on my plane with that mod. And then this is saying that I can go up on one, but go down on another. So I think I'm going to drop my crew and go up on my mods.
Does that put your mods at 2 points per mod right now?
Yes. Ooh. My mods and my medals are 2 points, and I have 5 points for the end of the game. And yeah, you don't interact with that spot. And it won't refill till the end of this round.
All right, well, this changes things for me a little. Well, it doesn't really. I still want the medal. I wish I could have done it in the first round and gotten 2 medals from it. But that was not going to be possible. But I'm going to rest first. Oh. That's what I'm going to do. So the first thing I do, I can take any die. Now, I want the storm to keep going in this direction. I don't want it to turn around. So I'm trying to take away David's option to do so. Also, I want to force David to take high dice. So I'm going to take this low gray one. And then my power is that when I rest, I can turn this die to any facing. Now, this matters, so you'll see in a second. So I'm going to turn it into a 6. So when you rest, you go down this line. So I get to wake up one of my crew. I'm going to wake up or refresh the guy that removes 1 damage from my airplane.
Yeah,
so
and
he's back up.
Just to highlight something, the first time we played, Ryan had the power that when you took that part of this action, he got to wake up all of his crew.
Yeah, refresh all my crew.
Which
that
was
been
insane,
nice.
And he had a ton of crew
I know,
that
I'm
game.
not going to get to do that this game. So that's that. Then I heal 1 damage for the value of the die divided by 2. Since I used a 6, I get to heal 3 damage. So I'm going to take 2 off of this and 1 off of the plane. And then I get to remove any dice from my board that are the same value or higher than the die I used.
That worked out. That worked out.
It was
good.
I did kind of plan that a little bit.
That was a good time to rest.
I thought so. And then I get either 1 crew, 1 medal, or 1 mod. And I'm going to take the, yes, I'm going to take the medal.
You're going to take a medal?
I need to get up to where you are on medal. So that's just an easy way to get a medal. And then I'm going to use my guy. I refreshed him. I immediately put him directly to work. We're going to heal 1 more off my plane.
Oh, nice.
And that's my turn.
Yeah, I guess that's, I mean, I suppose you could do that at the beginning of your next turn, but yeah, you may
Might
as well.
just use it now.
I'm going to take the 4 because it's really my only option, and it has to be with my...
I knew you couldn't use the 2.
Has to be with my trike, unless, of course, I was going to rest.
That's true, you could.
But I can't, I don't want to rest with a 4. I'm trying to see the spaces I can go to with my trike and get some stuff.
That you can't reach by trike?
Yeah, I can.
No.
Boom, boom.
Oh, I'm sorry. My guy's literally blocking my
Yeah,
sight.
there's a lot of interesting routes to
looked
these
around
different
There
places.
is.
I think I am going to actually use the trike to go there.
Yeah.
I had a 4, so 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to pick up one of these, I think. And one more thing.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Okay,
So I just picked up those resources, and
no,
that
no
is
penalty, no damage to your ship.
Nope. And I get to move up on my mods, so my mods are worth 2.
Oof.
I just need to collect more mods.
Yeah, you do. All right, well, I'm going to use my trike to move very simply. Now, one thing, too, if you are asking yourself, I don't know if you would be, you can only interact with where you stop. So, like, I'm going to move 1. Even though I will have extra movement, I can't, like, move back. I'm going to move here, stop here, turn in what I need, which is 2 browns and 1 green. So let's just turn those in to the discard pile up here. And let's grab this contract. So that's going to be 6 points at the end of the game, plus a medal right now and a mod right now. So if you could have me a mod, I'm going to place this. I want to be able to use 6s on my, no, I want to be able to pick up 2 goods with my plane without worrying about it. So I'm going to do that. Cover that one up. And yes, my second medal, that feels pretty good. And 6 points at the end of the game. So we're getting
not bad. That's not bad.
So that is the
that is the end of
that's the
that
end of the round.
round. So this 2 goes up here.
Yep, and it's going to keep moving in the direction it was moving.
So
So it's going to go
1,
came that way. So it's going to go 1,
2.
2, and when you're moving 2, you're actually dropping 3 goods in each spot. It's going to
Starting
be a
with
juicy,
what location?
Starting with where it is right now, the last location.
2.
So this one will get 3
Oh, 3.
because it's only moving 2 spaces.
Oh, wow.
3 there, yeah, and then 3 there. Yeah, that's a lot.
2, 3.
Now, we'll redo the dice, but one thing that's going to happen, we'll change the first player token. So you get to kind of see how this works. All of these that are face up blue right now are all going to take a damage on them. So if you do turn in a contract at one of these spots next turn, you're going to suffer that damage as well. If we don't turn in, they will just go away. And then we're going to get 2 new ones on their light side to replace the ones that we completed. And that is just how you
we're both
reseed
on
the
a
board.
pretty
So
similar
there's that.
pace right now.
We're on a very similar pace. You're a little bit better off than me.
That looks really attractive to you.
That
Both
looks
of
very
those.
attractive to me. Can I get 3 greens though?
That's going to be rough.
That's going to be really
You
rough.
might have to resort to bullets. When you pick up bullets, those are wild resources, so you can use them as anything, but you're taking damage
I
whenever
got some
you
bullets
take
right
those.
here, but there's a crew there. I don't really want to go up my crew. I don't really want to go up my mods.
There's
I
some
really,
bullets and a medal.
Yeah, but I want green bullets and metal. I'm picky. I want all three of those things. I don't know if there's any spot on the board that fills all those requirements.
And I'm probably going to have to rest off the bat on my next turn.
Probably.
But those were the first 2 rounds
the
of
game is
Storm
quick.
Raiders. It is a very quick game. It's got the simplicity of a pick up and deliver, but at the same time, it's got a little bit more. It's very tight. And I can tell you, based on our first play and then this play, this is playing out quite a bit differently.
Oh, for sure.
The damage is far more suffocating this game than it was the last
well,
game.
I don't have nearly as many cards that can reduce damage. I'm not playing the guy that can just load up on crew this game, so it's a little different.
Yeah, so it's a little crazy. We're going to finish the game out, and then we'll be right back to let you know how the whole thing shook out and see who won.
Yep.
And we're back, and it went, as we expected, very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, the game is only 6 rounds.
It is
so
only
it's
6 rounds.
It's not meant to be a super long game. But we just finished scoring, and
Drum roll.
it was a tie. Crazily, it was a tie.
It was a tie. We got there in very, very different
We
ways.
did.
I collected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 contracts.
And I only did 2 contracts.
So I won the contracts. You go through all these different things when you score up. Where he did win, where you might have expected him to win, is he got a lot of points with his medals. How many medals did you have in the end?
I had 6 medals. I got my medals track all the way up so that they were worth 4 points apiece. So I got 24 points for medals. You got 24 points for contracts. So we did kind of balance out that way. I had a plan to go heavy on contracts. In fact, I actually took a few turns just hitting up spots to collect resources that also gave me bumps on my medal gauge to get it up to being 4 points per. But at the end of the game, I was actually in a tough spot. I had to rest twice towards the end of the game.
His last, so midway through while we were playing, we sat here and talked to ourselves about whether or not maybe a strategy would be to just go around collecting a bunch of resources, because you can hold a lot of resources.
It wasn't bad because it did give me the bumps I needed to make my medals worth 4. Otherwise, they would have only been worth maybe 2 or 3, and I would have probably lost.
But what happened was his last turn, there were 3 dice left. One was a 6 and a couple 2s. On my last turn, I used the 6 to travel in this direction because I needed the 3 with my plane.
Yeah.
He was left with no way to mitigate the dice such that he could get a 6, which is what you needed.
Yeah, I didn't think you were going to take the 6.
Yeah, no, you don't
So,
expect someone's going to take
You
the
want
6.
to take the low dice early, but yeah. And
But
so
it basically, he could have completed one more contract, right?
I
Had you been
could
able
have
to.
completed one more contract. I was on my way to completing that last contract, but I just didn't have the die to get there. So I figured, well, at least a rest clears off the last damage and gives me, you get to choose one object to add to your team. So I added 1 medal at the very end, which was worth 4 points. So that would have made the difference. However, there was a tiebreaker.
Yes, he did win in the tiebreaker.
I did win in the tiebreaker.
We tied 45 to 45.
I won twice with this.
Yeah.
Because you had left with 2, if you had 2 damage left on your board. If you had not had that 2 damage, you'd have gotten no negative points and you would have just flat out beat me, actually.
That's true.
So
That's true.
It did come down to damage in more than one way, actually. But outside of that, we did. So I guess having to rest actually helped because it cleared off my damage as well. So that's worth thinking about.
Well, it gave you another medal, too.
Yeah, it gave me a medal.
He rested, which gave him another 4-point medal based on his track there. But yes, it ended 45 to 45.
Yeah,
and this guy took it in the
also,
tiebreaker.
very different scores from the last time we played, too.
Yeah, it was. You destroyed me the last time.
But I had a much better. I had that guy that gave me all the points for all the different crews. So all I did was collect crew and go to the spots that gave me crew bumps.
Yeah,
So-
and I do think this game is going to come down to you really looking at the skills that you have on your vehicles and utilizing as much as possible. On camera earlier, you saw me complete a contract, but I didn't complete it with my trike.
Yeah.
I did start completing these contracts with the trike because every time I did that, it let me remove a couple dice, including a damage die, off of the other thing. So I didn't rest. I don't think I rested just the once in the entire game.
One time. And I kept forgetting that my plane removes gray dice from my trike. And I kept putting black dice on my trike.
Well, and I kept trying to take the gray dice because I couldn't remember why you wanted gray dice,
That's
but I
why.
just knew you wanted them.
I couldn't remember why either. I just forgot it. It's a little bit. And I liked, you saw it even on camera, my sub can't take damage. I should have used my sub a lot more. But I just didn't find myself in spots where,
Oh, I thought I was going to use my sub a lot too, but I'd loaded up with damage early, which made it troubling. And then you'll find there's not a lot of opportunistic moments to be on those subspaces, and oftentimes you find yourself not on a
Well,
subspace.
there's only a few of those stormholds that are actually also
Yeah.
sub, so you got to kind of like plan that out.
But anyway, that was our experience. 45-45. Ryan takes it in the tiebreaker.
Crazy.
That is Storm Raiders. If you have any questions about the gameplay, what went on when the camera wasn't rolling, let us know in the comments below. We'll get down there and answer whatever we can. And again, check out our preview for a little bit more thorough dive into how the game plays and how it's structured and all the things that you can do. Until next time, of course, make sure everyone has fun at the table, and we'll see you then.